So we got our drums going on. Cool, we got this bass. Cool.
Just another night till I saw you there. She was so complex, I had to study every layer. Just another.
All right, so let's take a look at what we're doing here for the vocals. Now these vocals here, on this main part, this is my vocal setup, and I've got it right here in the notes for y'all. My vocal effect chain is an EQ, a de-esser, a compressor, and another EQ. The first EQ is utility, which is in this case just low cut, approximately around 100 hertz or something like that. This one here, I've got 160. We can pull that down a little bit. And for vocals, you don't need all those low frequencies in there. And then we've got a de-esser here, just to compress the sibilants, so get rid of those S's and the sh sounds and the s sounds. And then compression, which is an overall, like a slight overall compressor.
Just another night.
And you can see here, we're not compressing very much. We don't want it to compress very much. And then you've got an EQ to make it sound pretty. And this is going to be a different EQ from the first one here. So you're not just going to take the same EQ, you're going to have like a different EQ on there. So what we're going to do here is use the, let's use a different compressor in here. Let's use one of these UAD's compressor. So the LA2A, yeah, let's use the silver one here. Keep it mono.
Just another night till I saw you there. She was so complex, I had to study every.
I'm going to actually get into why we should have two EQs. So Gia says why have two EQs, and I'm going to get into that right now.
Just another night till I saw you there.
Okay, so I got this in here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one, and let's see if we can do this okay. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this BS76 over here. I'm going to put the LA2A here as well. And I'm just holding down Option to drag it over, and the reason why I'm dragging it over is because it's coming from the same recording session, the same everything. If you remember, I actually was the one who cut this into different parts here so we could control the levels a little bit better.
Another night, you were surely there. You made her way into the dark. It's like she wasn't there.
Awesome. Okay, so we got those sounding pretty good. Now let's just talk about this other EQ that we're going to put in here. The reason why we're going to have another EQ is because we want to have one EQ to do a low cut before our compressor, because you don't want the compressor to be working on the low frequencies, especially with a vocal voice. The voice, depending on how the microphone was set up and what kind of microphone they used and how good their mic technique is, vocals can have a lot of low-end energy in there, and the low-end energy is just unnecessary energy that you don't need to have in your recording. You can get what we call the proximity effect, which makes things sound really very different from how like people would normally sound. If you have somebody whose like face is pressed up against a microphone, it's impossible to get it to sound like their face wasn't pressed up against a microphone. And that's not how people usually sound when we're talking to them, because they're not usually whispering in your ear. If you're going for that whisper in your ear sound, then you have to get their face really close to the microphone and get that kind of sound going on. So what we want to do is we want to cut out these low frequencies, like using this here, and then so that all that energy it's not being compressed, because your compressor is going to compress that low energy. So if we put the EQ after these, we'd get a slightly different sound. Now, you probably wouldn't notice it very much, especially like unless your ears are just really well trained, you wouldn't notice it. And also when it's buried with everything else, but it still does it does change things. So you want to be aware of that. Then the EQ that we put after our effect is more to kind of make things pretty again, because we've subtracted out some frequencies. We've subtracted out the low frequencies, which it's fine. But then with the de-esser, we've also subtracted out some high frequencies. And we want to make sure that we get those in there, that they're in there overall, and add in back what we call the air of the sound. And just make sure that in case there's any other kind of like certain frequencies with the vocal, that we can kind of mess with those and make them sound good. What I call in the notes here, make it sound pretty. You want to make it sound pretty. And this is going to be, like I said, it's going to be a different EQ. So here we got this here. Oh, I'm a genius. Thank you. So here we got this. And so let's add in, let's go over here. There's a couple different, like I was saying before, every EQ is different. They're not all, let's see what this enhanced EQ AX is. What is this one? Okay, this is from Native Instruments. Let's see here. This is the one that comes with Pro Tools. We could just use this one, I guess, for now. I want to show you some different EQs, though. So I'm going to go ahead and solo this out. And let's get this first verse here. Just going to loop that.
Just another night until I saw you there.
So we can go in here.
She was so complex, I had to study every layer.
See how much I can make this change?
Just another night
I can change this a lot.
until I saw you there.
I want to get a little bit more of his mid frequency.
She was so complex, I had to study every layer. Just another night until I saw you there.
Right, and this is, I'm boosting the high frequencies here, even though before we had taken them out with the de-esser, but we still want that kind of high sound in there. We just don't want it to be like super smashing you in the face every time this dude says an S. So this is, we're keeping them in so it's still there, but the de-esser is pulling it down when it's too much. So we're going to take that, and I'm just going to take this EQ that I put here, I'm just going to put it over here as well, so we can listen to these. Let's listen to both of these here.
Just another night until I saw you there. She was so complex, I had to study every layer. Who are you? Who are you, my love?
Right, and you notice how it changes, the sound changes here. What we've got going on with these is, this one here is like, I don't have any kind of spread on it, and this one here has this, where is it? The micro shift, which is not here. There we go. So this micro shift here is, what this does is it spreads the signal apart using slightly detuning and a little bit of delay, and basically gives it a wider sound. But then what I did was I put the focus back here in like the mid frequencies, so we can hear his vocal. It's nice and focused, but it still gives it like a kind of a wider sound here. And I just did that for the chorus.
Just another night until I saw you there. She was so study every layer. Who are you? Who are you, my love? None of the nights you were surely there. We made our way into the dark. It's like she wasn't there. Oh, who are you? Who are you, my love? Oh, who are you? Who are you?
I go over here and push these guitars a little bit. And this part here, I would probably, this guitar part, would probably want to like take this and put it on its own track as well. Yeah, this one here, because it's just kind of doing noodly stuff. Yeah, it's like chords over here. And then here it changes into more of a solo. Let's go ahead and duplicate this track here. And where does it go back to being more chord stuff? Yeah, right there. Cool. Now I got that there, and I'm going to take this here, guitar 1. I'm going to call this one guitar 1 solo. And I'm actually going to put this down. I'm going to move this over to this part here. Yeah, so we have this stuff here so we can mess around with it. And this guitar solo bit, these three here, I'm going to rename this one guitar solo. And this one here, guitar solo. One, and I'm renaming these here just so I can have a better handle on what they are. Guitar solo 2 and guitar solo low. And this one here is going to be high. This is the higher one. There we go. So now I know what these are, and I'm going to take these, I'm going to make them into their own little group. On a track here, here, let's make sure I'm just, there we go. New track. And this will be, we'll keep it mono. Well, actually, no, let's make it stereo. I'll keep it stereo. And this in here will be guitar solo group. Yep, cool. So I got that, and now I can see what I'm doing, and these are going to go to my guitar group. and keeping everything organized nice. But yeah, cool. So now we got this. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this Microshift and stick it on these two here instead of on the main one. And then what's going on there? Right, so I like that sound a little bit better than the old sound I had. There we go. Focus those in a little bit more. Okay, so we got that there. Now let's listen to it. EQ on these. Cool. So I have all this stuff going on here like this. So now we should be pretty good. I don't have any markers in this track, which is going to drive me nuts. But y'all can kind of see what I'm doing here and how it all like kind of fits together with all the stuff we've been talking about over the past couple of weeks. Let's just listen to this one more time.
Just another night till I saw you there. She was so complex, I had to study every layer. Who are you? Who are you, my love?
Awesome. All right, and that's sounding good. And let's just go back over to our guitars. Let's listen to this part over here real quick. I just want to hear it. And you can even automate this. So it kind of comes in and out there. You can like bring it down and up. You could automate the volume here. So when you get to that part, so this section, this kind of weird section where everything pulls back here, take it so that actually comes down with this drum comp part. Here. let's put a marker here. So I don't know why I don't have any markers. And then over here, bring it back in. Yep, let's do it right there. So what I'll do is I'll hold down Shift and I'll just grab all this stuff in here. And this is automation. I'm just going to take it and pull it down right there. And then we're not going to do it like that much. Like, I mean, we're going to do it that much, but we're not going to do it like that quickly. What we're going to do is going to go over here and play this. And I'm going to put some markers in here and kind of pull it down from here. And if you remember what I told you about, you can hold down Command to add a marker, like a little automation dot, and hold down Option to subtract an automation dot. And then in here, let's put one in right here, put one in right there, boom. There we go. And really, a lot of the times with these effects and stuff, the object isn't so that people hear stuff, it's so that people don't hear stuff. Unless you're like soloing things out or stopping and starting like I'm doing now, you don't want people to hear that you've really shifted the drums. You don't want them to hear what you've done. You want it to be like invisible so the sound changes without people realizing what's happening. So all these little things. Anyway, so that's that. Now, let's just take a look at these effects here. This is a good one to do the effects thing on, because we are talking about, especially with these delays and stuff. So here, let me go ahead and close out so we're not looking at these inserts. Do I have anything in here that I need to insert? No. Okay, I'm going to take that one and put a no insert there for you. Take this out here. If no one noticed what you going on in the mix and you were immersed, you did your job well. I absolutely agree. 100%, yep. Your job is not for people to feel like they're somewhere. It's just to put people somewhere and have them just be there and not even realize where they are. Okay, so this reverb vocal here, delay, the reverb and the delay for our vocals here. And this last page here, this is talking about it's a good idea to run your delay into the same reverb as your original track that's feeding them both. So here I have my, this delay is on the, it's on the chorus. All right, so you've got that crazy long delay that's in there that's like really long and trippy. So let's go ahead and mute that. And let's just hear it with the reverb. Oh, who are you? All right, so I've got that in there. And what this delay does for us is it gives the sense of opening up and having all the space in there where we're not actually changing the reverb, we're just adding in a delay and it's just going on that separate track there. So in the verse, here we'll go ahead and play it from right here. I'm going to turn that delay back on. Let's listen to the verse and the chorus.
She made her way into the dark. It's like she wasn't there. Oh, who are you? Who are...
Right? So a couple things are shifting everything a lot. One thing is this, the vocal widens out, and the other thing is it gets this like delay on it. The delay is actually just it's a stereo delay, but there's very little stereo things happening, just a very slight widening of the delay as it gets longer. So what we're going to do here is you can see on this delay, I actually have this Moog filter. So I'm going to bypass this. Let's listen to that Moog filter, what that sounds like by itself. turn this down so it doesn't sound like he's gasping for breath. I'm going to actually move this down here. There we go. Hear that? Hear that? Here, I'm going to go ahead and mute this too. So Gio's saying you set the delay to the reverb aux track as well. Yes, and that's kind of what this whole point is about. That's what this whole page right here is about, is that sending the stuff in. And if y'all still aren't reading my notes, y'all crazy. Y'all cray-cray. Because these notes are gold. These are gold notes. You are paying a lot of money for gold nuggets of wisdom, and that's what these notes are full of. Full of this stuff. Just full. And that's why I want you to do those quizzes on Monday, on the weekend, so you're reading through this stuff and you're seeing this stuff. Because to not know that I recommend doing that, I'm just saying to you, I'm not trying to pick on you. I've had a few people say stuff like this, but to not know that I've been talking about this stuff it's a crime, because it's so important to know this stuff. And what I'm talking about is literally just what's in my notes here. Super, super important. Read those notes. Whoops, not the check mark. Read the notes, read the notes, read the notes. But yeah, this is one of the biggest things, is putting the reverb on the delay. So first of all, we're not sending it to, oh yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, this track specifically. Yep. But almost always, almost 100% of the time, if I have a reverb, like a vocal, and then the vocal is being sent to a reverb, and then I've got also like a slight, even if it's a slight delay on the vocal or a synthesizer or whatever it is, I always say to send that delay to the reverb, because you want everything in the same space. So what we're going to do here is, let's just hear this. Let's hear with no reverb at all. On anything, there's no reverb. Here's completely dry.
Oh, who are you?
Right, so there it is with the delay, and here's the delay without the Moog filter on it.
Oh, who are you? Who are you?
Right, hear how crazy that delay is? Now let's put this filter on the delay.
Oh, who are you? Who are you?
Right, so we got that. Now let's add the reverb back into the mix, but not have the reverb on the delay.
Oh, who are you?
The delay still sounds a bit dry, and now let's put the reverb, send the delay to the reverb.
Oh, who are you? Who are you, my love?
Right, now it's got this nice reverb kind of encompassing everything. So there's that there. Yeah. Put it all together and it sounds great with the song.
Another